Welcome to the Beauty Business Strategies Podcast. I'm Christy Hardy, and today I am joined by Ron Schlump, who is the founder of Live Edge Copyright and the former co-owner of Aaron May Salon and Spa in New York. Welcome, Ron. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So we get to talk about a subject that I don't know a whole lot about today. So I'm very excited to have you and cannot wait to tap into your brain about artificial intelligence and AI and really how small business owners can really use this to their benefit. So for all of you out there, I wrote questions today because I think it's really important that we get some really great answers from an expert. So Ron, I'm going to start with a question for you. For our listeners who might be unfamiliar, can you briefly explain what artificial intelligence is and how it can relate to them as small business owners, specifically in the salon and spa industry?
Sure. Just to give you a quick backdrop, my background is primarily using AI in the marketing space.
Okay.
However, it can be used in so many different fashions. So back to the question about AI, I think it was October, November 2022 when ChatGPT came on the scene.
Yeah.
And that's really when a lot of attention was drawn to AI. And so now there's a lot of platforms out there that are very effective and they keep getting better. I mean, it's just amazing how quick these generative AI models are expanding and getting bigger. How they can help small businesses that's a wild question because you get
here all day.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And with respect to the audience, which I was one, former salon and spa, and I appreciate where they're coming from because there's just never enough hours in the day to complete all the busyness that goes on. But a good starting point for this AI is to just sign up, okay? Because they're free. There's paid versions, of course, but I would recommend everybody sign up and just play with it. When I say play with it, just ask questions like you and I are talking right now.
Yeah.
And the better you get it, kind of having conversations with a computer, which is kind of weird, the better you're going to get at using it. And that's how I practiced. I had a couple of courses I've taken and I'm using them with customers and I really have fun with it. And that's back up a little bit. Just have fun with this. One thing we can get into, if time allows, is using more lengthy or descriptive prompts in the AI. And I'm going to use an example that does equate to, say, the salon and spa space, and it has to do with recruiting.
Yeah.
Now, I think recruiting since the beginning of times never been easy.
Yeah.
I don't think it is today. But if you feed the AI all the information about your avatar, your perfect prospect, your ideal female new hire or male new hire, and really give the AI the characteristics behind that avatar and your company, it can generate a lot of information that could be helpful in maybe writing ads to attract this prospect. It could be good for an email sequence. I mean, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but you can really extract a lot of quality information. And I think sometimes people get frustrated with it because they use a little bit and say, yes, it's kind of neat, but then you just go back to business as usual. Mm-hmm. And one thing I would say about that is in all my education and learning about this, I don't think AI is going away.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I think this is our new world. Yeah. So I think the people who adopt this are going to maybe be a little bit further along and pushing their business forward than maybe the folks that kind of just sit on the sidelines. So, but my recommendation, again, it's not, obviously free is not a big investment.
Right.
So you can get in, this entry level is pretty easy. And interestingly, the paid version is $20 a month in most cases.
Okay.
For these AIs. So it's real easy to get in and get in. That point of entry is real easy, and then just again toy around with it at the beginning, and then you'll get better and better and on how to prompt the AI.
Yeah. What kind of topics or headers, for lack of a better term, do you see as salon spa leaders and owners being able to use? So you mentioned marketing, you mentioned a little bit about recruiting. Are there any other avenues that you see AI as being able to help them get their jobs done more efficiently?
Well, depending, and you speak to any salon owner, and they have probably a hot list of things they really need to get off their plate or certainly move forward on. And without getting too detailed or specific, any of these cold hot list items that the salon or spa owner have, that can be part of a conversation. Say, hey, listen, I have X, Y, and Z going on, and I'm really stuck with this. And what would you recommend? Now, one thing I would suggest that any person, and if you're really starting to drill down with getting into your business and how it's going to benefit it, is giving the AI what's called kind of an optimal prompt, meaning give the AI all the characteristics on your salon and spa. You know, we're a staff of 8. Here's our volume. Here's our values. Here's our mission. Here's our state. You know, all that information. Upload that into, and it's really just a cut and paste exercise, so it's not real technical. Just upload that information into one of the AIs of your choice. And then at the end of that, just say, hey, great, going forward, any future inquiries that I have about John Doe, Jane Doe hair salon, please refer back to me as John Doe and respond based on this information I've given you.
Oh,
so now you have a thread.
Then we have to put that in once.
Yeah, it's going to be a little upfront work about all the information about your company. And now you have a thread, if you will, that you can communicate back and forth. Maybe in the future it's for an email sequence. Maybe you need really engaging headlines for a recruitment ad. You know, there's a lot of different applications for it. But I think the main point I want to deliver is getting a really quality prompt into AI is going to give the output. Just bring it to a much higher level.
Yeah.
Because you can ask it any generic question, but you probably get a really pretty generic answer, you know?
Right.
But I think it's important to really drill down on those. If you're going to go deep on those prompts, because that can really give you a thread where you can get a lot of information on going forward.
Oh, that's really good to know. What about, so many salon and spa owners, and you guys were in the weeds with us, right? They want to be able to find work-life balance and be able to take a few things off of their, proverbial plate.
Right.
How do you see AI as being something that can help with them?
Well, some of the smaller tasks maybe would be helpful. One thing, I don't know a lot about this, but like when we ran our salon, we used a software called Salon Biz.
Yep.
But there's Salon Biz, Millennial. There's a lot of them out there, I know.
Yeah.
I haven't used we sold our salon beginning of 22, ironically 2 months after just generative AI exploded, so to speak. So one thing I have not looked into, but probably would make some sense, is whatever software system a salon is using, I have to believe a lot of these software companies or point of sale systems have incorporated AI into them.
Yeah.
So I think that's one way to take a look and say, hey, we're running XYZ software for a salon. What AI components are within this system? Because that system's usually, most of these systems are pretty robust. They have the customers and a lot of information in it. So that certainly can be helpful to maybe take some things off a salon owner's plate. But
especially like those email sequences that you were saying, because I'm sure, and I know a few of them that I've worked with, the email marketing campaigns are right within that point of sale system.
Yep.
So that could take a little bit.
It take a little off the plate.
Off of the plate.
They may have to write an ad, a quick ad for, whether they're using, there's so many platforms out there to recruit, but if they're using one of these platforms, maybe they need just, they're what it really helps a lot of salon owners, spas, and any business owner is getting away from that blank page syndrome.
Yes.
Like, I have to write 2 headlines for this ad I'm posting for a new recruit. And you can prompt it, again, once it has all the characteristics of your company, you could prompt it to say, listen, I'm looking for 2 new hires, and you already have our values and our mission, and can you recommend 3 or 4 engaging headlines and an outline for a recruitment article or a recruitment email or a recruitment sales page? I mean, it can be, what's neat about AI too is it can actually give you different outputs. I think it's considered multimodal. So you can upload text and maybe get a video back, or upload a video, and all these AIs are at different levels of this multimodal communicating.
Yeah.
But they're all moving real fast. And, it's just, you can't keep up with it, but it's
rapid improvement.
It's crazy. It really is. And again, getting back to the importance of just signing up for that free version of it and just using it. And maybe to your point about those questions of how can it take some of these things off a busy salon owner's plate, that again, that hot list of 10 things or 5 things, just start, communicating with the AI around that. But again, with the prompt of all the company characteristics there, it's just going to give so much improved output versus just a general inquiry, you know?
Yeah. I want to go back for a second because you mentioned before creating an avatar for your ideal employee.
Correct.
But I think it probably would be very helpful for people to, number one, I want you to tell us more about creating an avatar. But then like what types of avatars? So meaning like,
Oh yeah, no,
that for clients,
that's a great question.
for employees. Talk about the avatar because I think that is a missing link in a lot of people when they have that blank slate syndrome.
Right. And that's a great question because I was sharing earlier that in 5-6 years, a while ago, and I may have gotten the template from Strategies, funny enough, but there was a female avatar, a male avatar, and we actually created these with our staff.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of funny because it seems like you're creating a cartoon character.
Right.
But and maybe to some extent you are, but it really drills down. So to your point, how many avatars could a company have? It could be a boatload. But let's just I'll speak to what our company had.
Okay.
We had a male avatar and a female avatar for prospects or clients.
Okay.
And then a male and female avatar for potential new hires.
Okay.
From what I recall, and again, it was several years ago, but it took a real long time, and I'm not sure how it was kind of clumsy and getting through it. Fast forward to today with AI, it's just off the rails. Now I have a prompt I use. It's about 3 pages long, so it asks a lot of questions, but the owner, the salon owner, doesn't necessarily have to answer all of them because the ones they don't know, AI will answer probably in a very decent fashion.
That's great.
And but to your point, we had 4 avatars, but companies could have, give an example. There's a salon that caters to color, and so that's probably more of a women's thing, but men get gray blending or whatever they want to call it. But they also do children haircut. And I don't know that, that's the mix I want to give, but they're on kind of two ends of the spectrum. You're going to have avatars for moms and avatars for kids, or maybe avatars for moms for mom and avatars for kids for mom,
Yeah.
So it's it really depends on the complexion of your company and the I guess the clients that you serve.
Right.
And based on that, that's going to give you a good idea. And I don't know if I don't even know if you guys still have avatar templates. Okay.
Yeah, so we sure do.
It's one of those exercises where, boy, you just think to yourself, why the heck am I doing this? But it just makes so much more sense. And if you upload something like this and all this information into a generative AI model, you're going to get back some really good information about the things you can use in a couple of different areas. Like I said, it could be an email, it could be a newsletter that's being done. There's a lot of different applications, and it's just it's really good information. And again, as it changes, you can go back to that thread and make some updates if you need to.
That's awesome. I love doing the avatar, and that's why I made you keep talking about it, because the avatar and really diving into who do we want to service? Like when we're talking about clients, who do we want to service? What does she enjoy or he enjoy or they enjoy? Why would they come here? Like diving really deep into understanding your own business really helps.
Absolutely. And diving deep is important on the prompts. Maybe it's something you don't want to go down that rabbit hole because it's a day wasted. But
like free AI, you would be able to. It could take a couple of.
It's all manual.
Couple of team meetings and whatnot. But now it could be. We're looking for someone who is looking for a high-end experience. Someone who enjoys. Maybe they're blonding specialists. So, blonding, whatever it is, we can pinpoint it a little fast.
Absolutely. You can pinpoint first, and then you have talking points to that person. So that's where you speak to those people, and that's really big. That's really, because there's a term, I think, whether it's an advertiser or marketing, if you try to speak to everybody, you speak to nobody.
It was so true.
And it's, it's just something that you really want to drill down as deep as you can with the avatars. And, you mentioned avatars, let's say for the prospects or new hires that you want, and also for your clientele that you're looking to attract. But at the beginning, we spoke about almost creating an avatar for your company.
Yeah.
And that's important. I think that's a good foundation to branch off into all these other areas, And there's one thing, and this sounds kind of silly, but you're not going to break the AI. Somewhere I used to tell my mom, she's not going to break the internet. We go online, but it's the same thing with the same concept. I mean, you just have fun with it, And I'll preface that again, just have fun with it. It's just amazing. That's what I find. I think I think my avatar experience of building a Madeline 5 years ago has given me the appreciation about
Yeah.
how AI is today, because it's amazing.
Absolutely. So having been a strategies and team-based salon and spa, we always look at things around critical numbers and
Systems.
systems, retention. How do you see AI as being beneficial to helping owners when it comes to maybe client retention?
All right, and that's a great question, because you can focus so let's say, again, going back to the fact that now the AI has the salon's characteristics and model about how they run their business. Once you focus in on client retention, you could say, okay, listen, we're looking to put a client retention policy together. Can you give us some guidelines or an outline of what the most effective ways are? You have all the information about our company. You know what we value. You know what our clients value. Could you put an outline together about what are good customer retention practices? You know, whether it's a birthday club or, I mean, we've seen them all in our own walk of life too, but you can certainly get that. You guys may have your own list. You know, you can input this list. Somebody theoretically at strategies can take the retention best practices, upload it into AI and say, hey, can you improve this?
Yeah.
Can you give me 5 more reasons or 5 more avenues that I should go down? So you can always build on it too.
Yeah.
So that's because a lot of people probably listening know that retention's a big number. And I think a lot of people, and I've heard this forever, they're always looking for that new client and then that shiny new object, but they don't realize that a big portion of the gold mine in their business is the customers that already know, like, and trust them.
Yes.
And that's the audience that you want to, really keep a hold of, and promote even more so that they get even more engaged with your business.
Yeah.
So retention's a huge area that I think a lot of people, it seems like just such an easy area to increase. But again, I just don't think it's the mindsets there sometimes to realize how important and how valuable the existing clients are.
And I love being able to put it into AI. Like, maybe you do that once a year, twice a year, like, help me improve my client experience based on what we're doing right now. How do we level up?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing I'll get back to with the avatar, because again, just knowing the manual version of it's kind of tough, but I tell people kind of an easy way sometimes, if you're having a blank page time trying to think, geez, what's our perfect ideal female client or male client? Do you have the characteristics? Well, maybe you don't, but maybe we just realize, take a step back and say, when the phone rings and you pick it up, have a little conversation with the client, hang up the phone and say, man, that is a fabulous client. That is like I wish we had more of them.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Yeah.
That's your starting point right there. What's the characteristics of Jane Doe or John Doe? Well, that's our avatar. So I think every company has one or two or 5. They just need to, again, drill deep and get the information, because then again, you're going to just have better content to attract that prospect.
Absolutely. So let's pivot just a little bit and let's talk about marketing and social media specifically, because it's the hot ticket, obviously.
Absolutely.
In our industry. Social media is the thing that just is.
Sure.
Everybody's pounding the pavement.
Yep.
How can AI be beneficial to somebody, a salon or spa owner or team, as it relates to social media?
Okay. Good question. I'll relate kind of a 2-part question. Like, Instagram is one of the things I think of because it's so visual, and the salon spa universe that's just like a perfect marriage, it seems. But going back to the AI, where they have, I mentioned, where you've uploaded all the information and characteristics and kind of how your company runs. This is where you can segue off, and you have that thread established where the AI has all the company characteristics. And this is where you can segue off and say, listen, I am doing a 12-week, an 8-week, a 6-week social media campaign, and it's going to be on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever the flavor of the salon is. And you can start getting information, kind of prime the AI to say, listen, this is the direction we're going. This is the platform or platforms we're on. Can you write me 10 engaging headlines? Can you write me an email template or outline for these 10 engaging emails? So you can, again, once it has all that information about your salon and you're using that thread, again, you could just branch off, whether it's social media, maybe the salon's doing a newsletter. Sometimes those, but you can really branch off into a lot of different areas once the AI has the foundation and the knowledge of your business.
Yeah.
That's so important, because then you can segue off into whether it's social media, email marketing. There's just so many avenues today, as we know. I would tell Solanos, pick one or two and just go deep with those, because there's so many that you could just be spending all day just not making movement on any. So I would recommend less is probably better sometimes in that.
Absolutely. What it really sounds to me is AI saves us time.
It does, absolutely.
Saves us time. It gives us the ability to get things done a little bit quicker. So for that, we're all grateful for. Let's talk a little bit about leadership before we wrap up here too.
Sure.
How do you build a strong team culture using AI? Is that a thing? Could that help us with internal culture?
It's interesting. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. But I suspect, it may not be the end all, but again, once the AI has your salon's values and the mission and everything that you do, and it comes back to, if something happens in your salon, you're like, gosh, what do we do? Well, you refer back to your values. What do our values say we're going to do? And so if you have that foundation, you again just can branch off into so many different areas, and you just need that foundation. I'm sorry, go back to could you make the specifics of that question again? Because I think I missed it.
How do we build a strong
culture? Culture was the question, correct? Okay.
I think you hit the nail on the head though, with the values. Like if it knows that, and you're saying something is going on in our business right now, to be able for that to always go back to
right. Does it reflect our values? Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And AI can help you maybe recommend new values, but I don't know if you want to reinvent the wheel. We're not here to talk about putting more on a salon owner's plate.
Right.
There's plenty there, I suspect. But it could, again, give you some ideas like, hey, listen, this is what our culture is all about. Here's our values. How do we take this to the next level? Give me 10 reasons, or not 10 reasons, 10 effective choices to make going forward, or something we can do or introduce to our team, or something we can introduce in our company to bring our prospects closer. There's a lot of, and again, the more you start prompting and talking to it, it's amazing. And in some of these AIs, you can prompt a question. I'm trying, it doesn't matter the one, there's so many out there. I think I was using Perplexity, but anyway, they're all going to be pretty similar, I think, as we move forward. But when you prompt it, at the end of the, response, the output, which is like 45 seconds, which is just amazing. That alone is like, I'm still amazed by it. But it has related topics below it, let's say maybe 4 or 5. And I've discovered every single time I've used this, those related topics are little nuggets of gold. Because you could drill deeper down without needing to type anything. You almost get into a loop, or you can get really deep on this stuff. Now, again, there's some rabbit holes you don't want to go down, I suspect, but, there's just so much that you can do. And I think that's why there's overwhelm there, because, especially in marketing, I mean, Jesus, so many avenues.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I have one final question. What advice would you give salon and spa owners who are considering investing in an AI technology? Where do they start?
Okay. Well, and we may have touched briefly at the beginning, but the biggest investment, if they decide to make it, is $20 a month for most AIs. ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, I think is the same. I think they're all right about 20. However, it's important to recognize that all of these have a free version. And that's what I would suggest anybody interested in moving down this path to get the free version, because you could have these conversations. Everything we've just spoken about can all be fed into whether it's the paid version or the unpaid version. The results aren't going to be terribly different, Maybe the paid version is a little quicker, and I'm sure there's a couple little caveats there, but it's free.
Yeah.
And one comment that I will make up to that point is, if there's 2 hair salons and spas out there, almost identical, but one of them adopts and uses this almost as a personal assistant to some extent, and then really gets engaged into the level we've discussed, versus a company who says, I'm going to stay on the sidelines and wait about maybe I think this is going away.
Yeah.
I think this is our new world. So, I'd have to recommend going in and at least dabbling with it. I mean, is it going to change the way they operate? Probably not right away. But again, as they get better, they'll just have better information and maybe make better choices about how they message their clients and prospects.
That's great. Ron, give us a little elevator speech about how you help small business owners like our salon owners.
So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to give you my elevator speech. Good morning. My name is Ron Schlump from Live Edge Copywriting. I help small businesses grow in one or more of these 4 categories: awareness, sales, leads, and retention.
Wonderful.
If you're looking to grow your online presence, I'd love to talk to you.
I love it. That is great. You come with such a wealth of knowledge. We really appreciate your support, your guidance. We will continue these conversations, and we will be sharing with you guys some of the resources that Ron recommended, or that he that he mentioned. But we really appreciate you being here, Ron.
I'm glad.
We will continue this conversation on AI, and I'm sure it will get even more and more advanced as we continue.
It'll be interesting, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next time.